Nice there. Okay. Hi guys. As you may or may not have seen, we sent out an email a couple of weeks ago asking if anyone had any questions that they wanted or any kind of topics that they wanted a bit of advice over, and said that we'd do like a little bit of a kind of Q&A video for you discussing those topics that you ask about. We got loads of responses, and there's too many to kind of do in one video. We don't want to make a super long video, so we're just going to discuss one today, and then we'll release more videos in the future going over other questions that we got. But the first question that we got through was from Lorna, who said, I'd like some advice about diet, workout and sleep. I always find I start out well with a diet, but then after a few weeks I start to struggle and I find it really hard to get back on track. I also struggle with sleep, so some tips on that would be great. So, Matt, I'll hand over to you. We'll start with the diet question. What are your advice on kind of starting a diet and tips to kind of keep the ball rolling with it?
Yeah, so usually the best thing to do is not go on one of these all singing, all dancing diets, because they are quite hard to maintain most of the time. The best thing to do is just make little changes in your current diet. So not necessarily completely overhauling the whole thing, just making little changes here and there. It might just be a case of its portion size. It might be a case of your diet is okay, but you're eating far too much every meal.
We're assuming that this question is about kind of diet relating to weight loss as well. There are all sorts of kind of considerations towards your diet, but yeah, in general,
I mean, if you want to go the other way and you want to incorporate that, if you wanted to put on a little bit of weight as well and you're changing your diet for that reason, the same thing sort of applies. You want to make little changes as you go, not one overhaul big thing, because at the end of the day, whether you're adding on or trying to add on weight or take off weight, there's always somewhere you need to go. So if you want to add on weight and you just add in a ton of food, at some stage you're going to plateau and stop and have to eat more. And the same with when you lose weight. If you cut out loads of food straight away, so you drop your calories right down, eventually you're going to get to a stage where you can't lose any more weight without reducing those calories even further. So it's a case of, if you're losing weight, eat as much as you can while losing weight, and when you're trying to gain weight, eat as little as you can while still gaining. As long as you're still going towards those goals, it'll work.
Yeah, we always find making huge changes to our lifestyle really tricky to maintain. No matter the kind of the intention, no matter how enthusiastic you are about making those changes to begin with, it is really difficult, as creatures of habit, to alter our lifestyle really dramatically and kind of keep that. So a big piece of that advice when it comes to your diet and your lifestyle would be to make small changes, whether it's just reduce the portion size slightly. Once that becomes a normal habit and really easy to hold on to, then look to potentially substitute some kind of higher calorie foods for slightly less calorie foods, whether it's incorporating more sort of vegetables and fiber in your diet, and slowly kind of getting rid of the more starchy carbohydrates, like reducing the amount of pasta or rice or potatoes, and kind of increasing the more colourful variety of vegetables in there, just to help keep your food nice and nutrient dense. But all of these things take time. It's really tricky once you set a goal, you're really motivated and you get started, and then you hit an obstacle. Then getting going again can feel really difficult and really demotivating, because I'm back at step one. So yeah, make those goals small and really achievable, because that's what kind of helps you going. You've achieved something, so you've got that enthusiasm to carry on. Whereas if your first goal is to get from here to here and you only get halfway, it feels a little bit demoralizing. So if your goals are small, then the small successes feel even better, and over time it's not something that you don't even have to think about. You just naturally do it because it's now part of your normal routine.
I was just going to add on that you can still have that long goal. Like say you can still put that long goal in there, but have little ones along the way.
Yeah.
That would just add.
Yeah, absolutely. If your goal is to lose 4 stone, then absolutely have that as a long-term goal, but set yourself small achievable targets, because 4 stone for some people can take a very long time, and for others can take quite a short time. And so kind of set yourself small targets to achieve. Make it, 5-6 pounds for a month or whatever. Achieve that month and then progress on to the next one, rather than I've got to lose 4 stone. That's it. That's the only goal. Give yourself mini targets to work towards and achieve. Anything else about kind of keeping up a sustained change in your diet? Anything else that you'd recommend, that you'd suggest? Not off the top of your head, no worries. Again, you are always more than welcome to come in and have a chat with us as well. So on to the next bit, kind of talking about sleep, struggling to kind of keep a good sleep pattern, which as we know is like kind of a lack of sleep is a huge factor in sort of making any changes. Having a healthy mind, healthy sleep routine does make life a lot easier when it comes to forming new habits, achieving weight loss, having enough energy to go through the day and do exercise as well, that sort of thing. So what are your kind of quick tips on sleep?
The main one's got to be your blue light. So stuff from like your phones and your TVs and stuff like that. The amount of people that go to bed with their phone and will be on that for a couple of hours before they actually go to bed is quite surprising. So just before you go to bed, you just got to cut out some of that blue light. Don't sit when you go to bed. Don't sit there staring at your phone for so long, as it does reduce the melatonin in your body, which sort of helps for regulating your sleep.
Yeah. I find personally that it sounds kind of daft as adults, but having a bedtime, something that you stick to for the kind of the majority of your sort of monthly routines, is really, really helpful. I know that it does get disrupted when you have like a social event or, England in the final or something, but in general, having a set time when I'm going to go to bed at roughly 9:30, or whatever time works for you, which means 9 o'clock I'm going to start to unwind. You can turn off the TV, do the things that help you to switch off, whether it's write down things that are on your mind so that you don't need to keep thinking about them because they're on a piece of paper for you for tomorrow. Whatever it is that you need to do to unwind, have a nice warm bath, etc., but you've got that kind of routine of telling your mind, telling your body, this is us starting to slow down, starting to get ready for sleep. Because your body does like a little bit of consistency as well, especially when it comes to things like sleep patterns. Knowing
back to what you said
I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. I'm gonna go to sleep at this time. I'm gonna wake up at this time. It really helps with developing those sleep patterns. Another big thing is being careful on your caffeine intake. The amount of people we know have coffee way into the afternoon, that can have a really surprising effect. The half-life of caffeine in your body is quite long.
Yeah, it's about 6 to 8 hours depending on your tolerance.
Yeah, so if you have a cup of coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then that caffeine is still going to be in your system potentially at 10 o'clock at night, kind of almost inhibiting your ability to get to sleep. So you may want to consider having a cut-off point, say lunchtime for your last coffee of the day, and then switch to decaf versions if you really like your coffee, or green teas that are naturally decaffeinated, or whatever else that you like to drink, hot drinks, or switch to water. Through the night, if you're struggling, if you're waking up because of needing to go to the loo and things, then maybe don't chug a pint of water before you go to sleep. But yeah, in general, it's try to get into a habit, try to give yourself a bedtime. I know there are exceptions to that, but in general, the things that are all within your control, you need to kind of build into a bit of a habit and a routine, I think. Anything else?
Yeah. No, apart from like the bedroom itself, just sort of making sure it is sort of as quiet and as dark as it can be, because I know some extension leads have little lights on them that light up the room and stuff like that. Just making sure that it is actually dark and quiet so you can actually go and have a night's sleep, because not everybody's a deep sleeper. Some people are quite light, so small noises will just wake you up.
Yes. Obviously, you can't control everything. Like kind of if you have really noisy neighbours or live on a very busy road or that sort of thing. But to the best of your ability, where you do have control with things like not looking at your phone right before you go to sleep, minimizing the amount of light that is in the room, these sorts of things you can control and can really help with sleep, then I'd suggest looking into it. Right.
It's also when you go to bed. Don't sit there on other bits and pieces. Like, your body will get used to, if you're in bed, okay, now I'm going to sleep, rather than, all right, I'm going to go and do this for the next 2 hours. That's bad.
Make bed the place where you go to sleep, and pretty much that's it. If you find you go to bed and you just can't sleep, then give it 20 minutes, get up, go downstairs for half an hour, then go back up again and try again in a little bit. Otherwise, you may end up just getting more and more frustrated with yourself that you can't fall asleep. So maybe, look to eliminate those sorts of distractions as well. But yeah, okay, we've probably rattled on for more than long enough for now. We will do another video with other people's questions another time. And if you do have any, then feel free to either come in, ask them in the office, pop them in an email, or give us a comment on social media. Okay, thanks very much.